for me, I always pick the man who won the first fight unless there's some circumstances which dictate differently, and I feel like that never happened in that fight. So I picked Ruiz again. I think Ruiz wins by stoppage, but I think we'll see the best of both men. Like, I know he says he's got his world title, he's got his money, but when you taste success, like when I beat Lucas Brown, when I bought David Price, I fucking trained overly hard. Do you know what I mean? Because I wanted it so bad. I don't think there's any danger of that. He's a very proud man. He ain't gonna lie down for nobody, that man. So I'm really looking forward to it. And like I said, now the undercard's out, I think it's a really good show.
I always felt that Joshua would be the winner. I feel like he's a better athlete. I feel like he may have underestimated Andy a little bit because he was so unknown. He was coming to fight in America for the first time, so there was pressures there. And I think he knows that this is, a do or die kind of fight for him. And so I just feel like that he's got a little bit more to lose, and he's a more talented guy overall, in my opinion, bigger and stronger. Maybe not as quick, but just a better overall fighter in my mind. And if he did a good training camp and got himself in the right frame of mind, both mentally and physically, I think it should be Joshua to turn the tables. People talk about, he got knocked out, it's going to be even easier this time for Ruiz. I'm like, well, sometimes that's the case, but I was just talking to Lennox Lewis here at this press conference, and I remember, his fights with Rockman, which I covered those fights, and he got knocked out in the first fight and turned the tables and scored a huge knockout in the rematch and regained the title. So, anything is possible, but if you make me pick, I'm picking Joshua all the way.
Joshua, who as a top amateur fighter, Olympic medalist, has the experience of fighting all around the world. That isn't the case with Andy Ruiz. I think he had one fight outside of the United States and Mexico, and that was when he went to New Zealand and lost to Joseph Parker. So I don't know if Andy will truly feel comfortable fighting outside of the United States or Mexico. And Joshua probably, as the more worldly guy, will probably have an easier time adjusting. Whether that's going to make a difference, I don't know. We'll see.
That's going to be a smoker, champ. That has the making of being one of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time, because you got Ruiz, the first Mexican-American heavyweight champion, and you got Anthony Joshua, who got to prove to the world, let alone his country, England, that he wasn't a fluke, that he got that boxing skill. He got to be light on his feet. He got to move side to side. He got to use that jab. And Ruiz got to be like Smoking Joe Frazier, get inside, work that body, let those combinations go. It has the making of being a great fight.
I'm looking forward to the rematch. Of course, I'm rooting for Andy Ruiz. I was rooting for him before he got in the ring that night. I didn't know he could do what he did. I'm looking forward to him showing up and doing it again. He doesn't. That punch doesn't connect the way it does in the first fight, and I think we're still in for a great, exciting fight. Joshua likes to use his reach. He likes to line up his big right hand, and Andy likes to work. He's a worker in the ring, so especially in the heavyweight division, you got to appreciate that. So I think it's going to be a great fight.
I don't know what he can do any different, Anthony Joshua. I look at the fight and I think that, Ruiz took the fight at 5 weeks' notice. He took AJ's best shot, got off the floor, took the fighter to him, and AJ couldn't cope with him with his fast hands, with his footwork, and also with his power. And I don't know what else he can do, or what he can bring, or what his changes he can make to reverse the decision. So I edge towards Ruiz beating him again.
When you quit, you got to live with the repercussions of that, the after effect of that forever. Forever. And when you fight, it's last I checked, 12 times 3 is 36. 36 minutes. 36 minutes, baby. So 36 minutes versus possible eternity, I think I'll fight and take the 36 minutes. And if he learned that, and that's what it's about. It ain't about lefts and rights. It's about that. Yeah, don't stand straight up like an English statue. Yeah, that would help. But the first part I said, he better have learned that. And to me, that's what That's what it comes down to. And maybe again, maybe he has learned that.
I think Joshua can do it. I think with the new and improved mindset that he has, he will go out there and do the business.
Ruiz, there's got to be a lot of demons. Mentally, he's going to have to be very strong. I'm not sure how. I don't know. I see someone getting knocked out. I think if I was going to put money on anything, it would be that the fight doesn't go 12 rounds. It's kind of one of these ones, whoever lands first. But Ruiz is a very good fighter, very fast hands. Potentially has the wrong style for AJ. I think Ruiz against Ruiz against Fury. Like, Fury boxed ahead of him. I think Wilder beats Ruiz, but styles make fights, as the old saying goes. It's a hard one to call. If you put a gun to my head, I would say AJ by KO, but I'm not sure.
It's a hard one, man, because my heart, like, AJ has been good to me. I've trained with him and I've been around him, and he's such a nice bloke. And obviously I want him to win. You'd be stupid to be like, AJ's 100% going to win after what happened last time. But if they've made the right adjustments, then I believe he is still a better fighter than Ruiz. I think he just caught him a bit off guard, maybe let it slip a little bit, you know. But remember, he had Ruiz hurt just before he got hurt. It's just, in heavyweight boxing, that's what it is, you know what I mean? You don't always have to be technically better. Get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then, Jesus, the rest of the fight, that's it.
It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight for Joshua, because I'm not sure mentally if he is fully recovered from what happened, and does he regress when he gets hit? Don't know.
How can you see the fight playing out at this stage?
That fight is going to end within 6 rounds either way with a knockout.
Listen, I don't know. I still think it's 50-50 fight. It's going to be a very close fight. It just depends who. Either Ruiz pushes the fight faster and goes forward because he's taking his best shots, or either Joshua, you see he's trimmed down a lot, so he either boxes him from the outside and just keeps him at bay. You never know. I don't know.
I think AJ took him kind of lightly the first time. I think in this next fight he'll go in there and be more focused, and he should get the win. It's going to be a knockout either way, whether it's AJ's way or Ruiz's way. There's going to be a knockout. It's not going 12.
The UK might hate me for this because everyone's like, you can't go against your countrymen. But you just ask for my honest opinion, I think Ruiz will win. Why? I always like to give reasons. I don't just like to say things because of the style. Boxing is all about styles. Everybody has a style that's hard for them to defeat. You've seen even Floyd, he don't like, the Maidana style, the Jose Luis Castillo style. Everybody has something that just gets to them. Nazim Hamed didn't like Barrera style. So AJ doesn't like the short fighters that throw combinations, powerful, quick hands. This is just a bad recipe for him, and I don't think between June and now he's going to find what it takes to defeat Ruiz. If he proves me wrong, fair play to him. I'm not a hater. They're honestly great, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, now great rematch. I know Anthony Joshua. He said that the first fight he wasn't really there. Now he's come more prepared. But I still think Andy Ruiz is gonna beat him, knock him out, and he's gonna win.
Look, I'm sure Anthony is going to use his jab or try to use his jab much more aggressively this time, more effectively. As I said, if I had to pick a winner, I'd pick Anthony. My sense is that this is much more likely to go like Lennox Lewis against Hasim Rahman, number 2, than the first go-round. But I don't know. That's what makes it such an intriguing fight. And we all sort of lucked into it, didn't we? Because there were very few people who thought that Joshua Ruiz 1 was going to be a competitive fight.
I was talking about Ruiz catching and countering, and I said that he will struggle to do so because of Joshua's power. When he was getting hit, it would take him off balance and he'd lose his positioning. But one thing I noticed, I watched the fight back a few weeks back, and one thing I noticed, as opposed to catching the shot like this, where your weight goes where your head goes. So if I put my head over my front foot, my weight goes over my front foot. If I put my head back, my weight goes back. See, if I'm blocking a big right hand and my glove's touching my head, it's going to take my head back. And I thought that if Ruiz was catching and countering with Joshua, he'd lose his positioning because of Joshua's power, punching through the guard. But what I noticed when I watched the fight back, he wasn't. He actually meets the shot So as you're throwing, he'll meet the shot, meet the shot, meet the shot. By doing this, it allows him to remain in position to fire back with the counters. So he doesn't lose positioning, which is smart, but as you can see, it also leaves gaps. So with the right setup, given the different looks and feinting and variety of the punches, you could expose those gaps. But you have to have confidence, you have to be smart, you're going to have good endurance levels. And one thing that I think Joshua could add to his game is a little bit more of everything's almost maximum output. Every jab is maximum output, every right hand is maximum output. Whereas a little bit more varying it up a little bit, touching with a jab, then shooting. But all this will stand for nothing if he gets in there and he's not in the right headspace. So that's something that nobody can answer until we see it on the night, and that's the big question.
To be honest, I see Ruiz winning again. And if I'm not mistaken, I think a lot of people have seen it the same as me. I think Ruiz is that kind of fighter who... It's like Pacquiao, for instance. Pacquiao was untouchable for a long time, yeah. But then Marquez, he's that one fighter who got his number. And he's like, so... I think it's kind of one of them fights where Ruiz just does everything wrong for Joshua's style.
It's a very important fight for many, many reasons, not just who holds the belts, but there are a lot of ramifications to this fight. I think people in the boxing world know that. And I think you're right that it's impossible to know who wins this fight. I think you can look at it from many different ways. You can say Anthony Joshua's got the tools to win this fight. Maybe he overlooked Ruiz the first time, this time he doesn't. You can look at it that way, or you can look at saying Ruiz has the style to befuddle Joshua. He did it the first time. He's going to do it even better the second time. So you can look at it that way, but I really think it kind of comes down to the guys. I think it depends on which Ruiz steps in the ring, but more importantly, which AJ steps in the ring. I think if AJ has that self-belief, if he's trained correctly, and if he has the right game plan, I think AJ will come out on top.
I don't know, because the mind of Joshua is down now, and Ruiz is very strong, so 50-50. It will be a surprise for everybody.
If you had €1, who would you bet it on, Ruiz or Joshua?
Ruiz. I think Ruiz, yeah. For €1, yeah, Ruiz.
I don't know. I think it will be boring jab move, Joshua win against Parker type of fight. Or Ruiz, I don't care. You're getting knocked out again. Round 5 stoppage, which is pretty much prediction that every boxing person would give. What do I personally want in this fight? I'd like AJ to return his belt.